Some people are effortless. You felt it. 5 minutes in, the conversation drives itself. Nothing needs explaining. Being around them costs you nothing. And some people are flint and steel. Every interaction throws sparks. Sometimes the kind that burn, sometimes the kind that light something. Same you. Different people. Completely different chemistry. For 1,000 years, BaZi masters have had an explanation for this, and it has nothing to do with zodiac signs matching. It's about what happens when two sets of 5 elements share a room. Today, why some charts feed each other, why some collide, and why opposites attract, is, elementally speaking, often literally true. For the newcomers, the name's Jimmy. I spent 20 years as an acupuncturist reading 5 elements in bodies. On this channel I read them in birth charts. BaZi, same 5 forces, different canvas. Let's go. First, throw away the version of compatibility you've probably heard. Pop astrology does compatibility like a checklist. 2 signs, 1 table, a score out of 10. Dragon matches rat, avoid the dog. Done. BaZi doesn't work like that because people aren't one sign. As you know from episode 3, you are a mix. 5 elements in specific proportions dominated by 1 or 2, sometimes missing one entirely. So when 2 people meet, it's not 2 labels shaking hands, it's 2 weather systems merging. And the question is never, are these 2 signs compatible? The question is, what does each chart have too much of, too little of, and what happens when those 2 imbalances touch? 3 things can happen: feeding, checking, or mirroring. Now, this is an episode you shouldn't watch alone. Not with your eyes anyway. Go to easternreading.com and pull up 2 charts, yours and someone who matters to you. Partner, best friend, business partner, your mother, anyone whose chemistry with you has ever puzzled you. The free chart takes 30 seconds each. Count the elements on both. Notice what you're heavy in and what they're heavy in. Links in the description. Hit pause, grab both charts. This is the one episode where homework actually pays off immediately. Got them side by side? Let's look at what happens when they touch. First dynamic, feeding. Remember the generative cycle. Wood feeds fire, fire creates earth, earth bears metal, metal holds water, water grows wood. When their dominant element feeds yours, being with them feels like tailwind. A wood-heavy person walks into a fire person's life and the fire person just burns brighter. More ideas, more energy, more courage. They're not doing anything. Their presence is fuel. This is the effortless feeling, and it's directional. The feeder often gives more than they receive, which is beautiful and worth naming. If you're the wood in someone's fire, make sure the warmth comes back to you some other way. Second dynamic, checking. Metal cuts wood. Water quenches fire. Earth dams water. When your dominant element checks theirs, or theirs checks yours, that's the flint and steel. There's friction in the room. Decisions take longer. Someone always has a yes, but. Here's what 1,000 years of chart reading says, and it surprises everyone. Checking pairs are not bad pairs. An unchecked fire burns the house down. Unchecked wood grows wild and scattered. We said it about musk in episode 3. Yang wood does its best work against hard constraints. A metal partner is that constraint in human form. The strongest teams I've ever read are checking pairs who learned what the friction is for. The blade doesn't hate the wood, it's carving it. Third dynamic, mirroring. Same dominant element, both of you. 2 fires, 2 waters, instant recognition. Finally, someone who runs at my speed. Mirrors feel like home in week 1. And then 2 fires competing for the same oxygen. 2 earths so stable nothing ever changes. 2 metals with 2 sets of non-negotiable standards in one kitchen. Mirrors double what you are, your strengths and your blind spots. A mirror pair with self-awareness is a superpower. Without it, it's an echo chamber. which brings us to the magnet. And the reason this episode is called what it's called. Look at the two charts in front of you. Find what's missing or thin in yours. Now look at theirs. If the element you're missing is the element they're rich in, congratulations. You've found your magnet. Last episode's language, your missing element is a hunger. And we are drawn reliably, unconsciously, sometimes embarrassingly, to people who have what we lack. The scattered person who can't say no marries a walking blade of metal. The drifting, missing wood person falls for someone with a 5-year plan. Opposites attract isn't a cliche in BaZi. It's mechanics. You're not attracted to a person. You're attracted to your own missing element wearing their face. And knowing that changes everything, because the magnet has a shadow side. What draws you in year 1 can grate by year 10. Her structure was safety, now it's control. His fire was excitement, now it's exhausting. Nothing changed except your relationship to your own hunger. The couples that last aren't the ones with perfect element math. They're the ones who know which hunger brought them together and stop asking the other person to be the element full time. Now, 3 honest things. First, there are no doomed pairs. I want to say that with force, because somewhere right now, a reader is telling a couple their elements are incompatible and charging them for the remedy. Checking pairs build empires. Mirror pairs build dynasties. The dynamic is the starting terrain, not the ending. Second, what we did today uses your dominant elements, the loudest voices in 2 charts. A full compatibility reading looks at all 8 characters on both sides, the hidden stems, the branch combinations. Today's lens is real, but it's the first lens, not the last. And third, a chart describes a dynamic. It doesn't measure love, respect, or effort. And those 3 outrank the elements every single time. Never end a relationship over a YouTube video, including mine. Quote. And if the 2 charts are still unpulled, that's easternreading.com, 30 seconds each, link waiting below. And the full reading at $9.99 maps your complete elemental balance, so you know exactly what you bring into every room you share. Next episode, we zoom back into your own chart, but into the layer that changes every single year. The annual pillar, why this year feels the way it does, why last year felt so different, and what the coming year is bringing to your door. If the 10-year pillars are seasons, the annual pillars are weather, and you're about to learn how to read the forecast. Before you go, tell me about your pair in the comments. Format it like this: your element plus theirs plus how long. Fire plus water, married 10 years. Wood plus wood, business partners, 3 years. Then one word: effortless or flint. I go through every single one, and the best pairs you send are getting featured next episode. Until then, thanks for watching.